16 minutes past 7 in the morning of Wednesday, the 9th of August. Good morning. I pay my watching my kwaba beji median so Kokrokoo Peace 1043. Median the Kwame Sefakai and pay Nyamiadum Divine Selection.
Make sure you don't stop clapping your hands like this. If you stop, I will send you home. Okay, some of you might need to start.
Later this morning, we'll have a chat to Professor Godfred Buckman of the University of Ghana. Good morning to Mr. Kweku Boama of Duke's Filling Station. It's from Charles and Kede to you. Happy birthday to baby girl Mavis Asari Cranting. It's from SDA Senna Deborah Anthony. And to Richmond Opoku Kumi of Anointed Royal School in Kofodia. It's from your dad Fifi Kumi of KTU. Your mom and siblings Michelle, Kwejo, Kwame, Auntie Sewa and Grandma. To you Kwabna Eburam of Anumboso AKGFA. It's from your brothers Christian Ado, Elder Ansa, Isaac Afunya, Harry Sami and Obisiao. Wishing Gloria Kwafu Akoto of Osino. It's from Ellen, Charity, Francisca and Janet. Sheila Agbatoglo of Tesano Total. Happy birthday, Sheila Agbatoglo. It's from Super and all the stuff to you. We love you, Sheila. Madam Irene Akpabla, Human Resource Manager of SNIT. Bless you on your birthday from Jonathan Echampong, Kingsley Jamie and Ifwa Sarkodie. And a very special wish to you, Mrs. Erica Chremating of Absa Bank. It's from Peter Squire. He says 2 days no here. Everything cool. So to you, Erica Chremating, Peter Squire Suchiano pay. I'll say it's been 48 hours until she make her ask you say everything cool. Peter Akopento Kwao. Happy birthday to Thomas Abeku Sika Andor from Sir Obama in Pokwase. Abeku Sika, bless you, my brother. Ampa Davida. Shouting out to my big sister Bibi Bismarck. Good morning. Hope you have a blessed day. Abeku Sika, floor 5, room 1. Welcome aboard. Wedding anniversary number 9 to Derek and Angela Ousua Samoa of Presby Church Victory Congregation at Denta Fafraha. Wishing you well. Okay, I'm waiting for my favorite part. You know the way. After that, Professor Godfrey Buckman is my guest. It says a very good morning to you, Thomas Ampem Nyako MP. Your children, Robe, Thomas, Sammy, and your dear wife, Miriam. Go, baby. Two brothers, Noah Dia and Michael Eden Imbia of the Calvary Methodist Church at Abraka. Happy birthday, both of you, Noah Dia and Michael Eden Imbia. It's from Nanesidu Kuchi Abebio. Welcome to Floor 5. A happy 50th birthday, Yakwachi, A.K. Ras. It's from Nana Kufia Mwakwado of Ultimate Beige Logistics. Wishing you God's blessings on the 5th floor. Yakwachi, A.K. Ras. And to you, Nanaya Kwachi Donko Elias Ras in Tema. Birthday wishes coming out to you. Have a good one. Happy birthday to Shanton of Shanton Motors Abosokai. It's from Manzaya to Shanton of Shanton Motors in Abosokai. Reverend and Mrs. Akresu Inim in Takrade. Happy 20th marriage anniversary, both of you. Reverend and Mrs. Akresu Inim. James Kwabna Menu of MM Plus Partnership. Happy birthday from your dear wife, children, and sons-in-law. Especially Gideon Oseboama. Anthony Fifi, good morning to you. Have a good one. And one to Lady Cassandra Ajinglate and Lady Sheila, now kindly portrait of the Capital Group from K-Danso.
Good to meet you.
27 minutes to 8 o'clock. Peace 104.3. Professor Godfrey Alufa Bokping is an economist and professor of finance, University of Ghana, Legon. Prof, Mache. Boko de.
Yes, I do. Nampacho one so.
Nyamiadum. Yeah, who ye Nyamiadum divine selection. Eja adiachi. Prof, anope me power drink check akra. Mona munim sikasem ne economics ne kike ka ho nyina na ne di kan Adam Kuma ewo mrahebedwemu ese yema Bank of Ghana governor ora Dr. Addison and 2 deputy governors yomo na otwe miensa 21 days omo form adwuma nto ho owie ho say wasre
And I pay breakfast here is very hard.
Them, and then the good breakfast, pa.
Before the minority made their statement, I had held a similar view way back. I have a soft side towards the governors, the governor, the two deputy governors. In terms of competence, professional experience, they qualify. But a number of things have happened for which, from professional point of view, they fell short.
Just a woman so many medjuma. And so near maybe what would you say your back module musani at Tiana and Chay.
And Chay. The Americans are the central bank is a national institution. If you look at the losses the central bank has incurred or booked, it's unprecedented.
Prophet Pachamani Sukakramay.
So, also the losses the central bank has incurred is unprecedented.
Okay.
It will take us years to recover. The central bank is the lender of last resort. Bank of Ghana, they overexpose themselves to the government. Let me put it this way. A couple of years ago, or maybe the past 2.5 years, if you listen to the governor of the central bank, after their monetary policy committee meetings and all of that, you get the sense that the governor of the central bank is not happy the way the fiscal side is being managed. And the fiscal side, we are talking about revenue generation, expenditure. And because of that, it was undermining the effectiveness of their work. This is not peculiar. It is not peculiar to only this administration. Hello.
I
want to give a little bit of historical perspective. So that we are able to take the politics out of it and see the common good, the nation at the center of it. We started monetary inflation targeting under Dr. Paul Akwa. Unofficially, yes, from March 2002.
March 2002.
Unofficially, what we call inflation targeting. The monetary policy framework, Central Bank, Bank of Ghana, AU. Unofficially, yes, from March 2002. Officially, no, yes, 2007. All right. For inflation targeting to be effective, there's one key condition, which is fiscal discipline. Fiscal discipline. Meanwhile, that fiscal discipline is outside the control of the central bank. The politicians.
And they have fiscal discipline.
Yes, they have to ensure that fiscal discipline. It's from the Ministry of Finance, essentially the executive. Without that, without fiscal discipline, it will almost be impossible, or it will be very difficult to deploy monetary policy effectively to bring down inflation and to engineer growth. You see where our inflation is?
Over 40.
42.5%. Now, from 2011 heading to 2012, we saw fiscal indiscipline showing up strongly, especially in the run-up to 2012 election. At that time, the Bank of Ghana Act empowers the central bank to do what we call deficit financing. When the government spends more than its revenue, the difference has to be financed. Either they finance the difference by borrowing from the domestic market, or issue treasury bill and a bond, or they finance that from the international capital market, like Euro bonds, or a combination. In addition, the central bank can decide, say, Omubema Abainu Sika, which is equivalent to fiscally printing more of your currency to finance government activities.
And count the inflation, Nebano.
Account, but at a certain point, the inflationary effect, and yes, wrong. And in the wisdom of Parliament, they pegged this at 10% of government's previous year's fiscal revenue. 10%. Say, Aban increases salaries at home. If they increase it beyond a certain point, it has inflationary effect. We call that one wage inflation. But if it's within a certain point, that effect combined with other variables in the economy, like productivity, the effect is not that strong. And the deficit of a certain level may not cause so much inflationary pressures, especially if the productive side of the economy is responding, and we are focusing attention on that in terms of the supply side, the bottlenecks, the structural bottlenecks, where economy it may not create that much of a problem. But, Master, this is Ghana's problem. In 2012, instead of the 10%, the central bank did more than 40%.
I see.
In 2013, they did more than 30%. And I'm just giving you a background.
Yeah.
This was one of the reasons why, when Ghana went to the IMF, our 16th IMF-supported program, I shall say free, April 3rd, 2015 to April 2019, one of the objectives was to eliminate fiscal dominance of monetary policy. What do you program now? Essentially to solve this problem. You don't work one day. So how did IMF solve that? They then said that let's set aside our law. Let's set aside the provision in the Bank of Ghana Act. Let's rather respect an MOU. So we suspended the Bank of Ghana Act practically, and then decided to comply with an MOU with the IMF. Zero finance. Any friend is zero financing. We did that. So inflation came down, all the variables trended downward. Then something happened again. Towards the third quarter of 2021, when the government lost market assets. In the third quarter of 2021, the Minister of Finance had gone to the international capital market to go and borrow. And the market rejected us because the fiscal vulnerabilities were clear from that. For the career, actually from the third quarter of 2021, our posture changed in terms of our comments that we were heading dangerously. And we started prompting government that you needed to reach out to the IMF quickly because where you found yourself, you had lost credibility from the international market.
That's third quarter 2021.
Yes.
That time not saying call IMF.
We should have made that call at that time. That was the optimal time. That was the best time. Senka ye call IMF at that time now. We wouldn't have been in this situation.
Okay.
I'm not saying that the IMF is the entire solution to our problems.
But
they have their limitations. We have reservations about their work. We can talk about that some other day. Back, no. Our solution was that if we were able to increase revenue, these concerns of the investors will be solved. They introduced a key revenue handle in the 2022 budget, which was presented in November 2021. What was that key revenue handle? e-levy. So government felt that e-levy would be able to rake in the much needed revenue and then create a special purpose vehicle and then ring-fence the e-levy inflows on the balance sheet of that special purpose vehicle so that on the strength of that balance sheet, they could go and borrow. Problem solved. But e-levy didn't work. I myself, I didn't support it. Not that I am whatever, but I didn't support it because I felt that it was inappropriate. It was inappropriate. And I still don't support e-levy.
Okay.
I still don't support e-levy. Okay. So they did all of that, but e-levy didn't work. So the fiscal vulnerability, debt unsustainability, became more entrenched, unsettling investors. Remember, we had lost market access from the Eurobond market.
Yes.
Then also in the domestic market, the government was being priced out. So the government lost market access also in the domestic market in what we call the medium to the long-term end. Bonds issued by government were no longer attractive.
Is it because they feel confidence was not in the economy? What any issue? And then the matter didn't.
Confidence in the economy has been wounded. Faith in the government has been pierced.
Maybe so, Bibi. Professor Bokwin, say yeshenia minority nekana over 60 billion a loss by the Bank of Ghana. Now, governor should resign with his two deputies. What would it solve?
There has to be consequences for actions and inactions with this magnitude. As I said, it's not the first time. We've seen it across the two.
Prof. Bachman,
I'm saying that there has to be consequences for actions and inactions with such magnitude. Sometimes you don't even need to be advised. And probably, I'm sure, if the governors at some point, maybe the optimal time to have resigned was long ago. But they sold their birthright. And I'm saying this also because we have seen it, the data is clear across the two main political parties. So in this matter, there is none holy. No, not one. Not the NDC, not the MPP. We've seen it. But what happened in 2002 is one of a kind. It's one of a kind. It's an outlier. That raises serious concern. Beyond the politics of it, it undermines confidence in the central bank itself. It undermines confidence in our financial system. We can make the argument to say, policy-wise, the central bank is solvent, but this level of losses seriously incapacitate the central bank from performing its function with a certain moral authority in the market. Remember, the essence of regulation is not the same as holding a hammer, where you treat everything else as a nail. The essence of regulation is to generate trust. Trust is more obvious in its absence. The market value of trust is more elevated in its absence than when it's there. So that is what it will do. So it has implication for the credibility of monetary policy. It has implication for confidence in our financial system, because the central bank is a key institution. Look, Maminka Asimbinchiro. Hello.
Meet
The central bank is the lender of last resort. Let's see how the IMF, and I have issue with the IMF in this matter. Why am I saying so? The total external debt of Ghana at the end of 2002, near $30.5 billion. Out of this, the multilateral debt was around $8.8 billion. Multilateral debt near what Ghana owed to the IMF, the World Bank, and the other multilateral institutions, near $8.8 billion. Only the IMF catcher.
Almost today.
Almost say, a lender of last resort. Omu debt, is not up for restructuring. Inti haircut, inti mi amfa scissors na nko.
I see.
In other words, the IMF was mindful in protecting its balance sheet. because they consider themselves, together with the World Bank and the others, they were lenders of last resort, and that as lenders of last resort, their balance sheet should be preserved. But Master Review, the Bank Ghana, our central bank, Bank of Ghana, is also the lender of last resort. But the same principle didn't apply.
Inti, Bank of Ghana, could they have done anything differently in terms government, say, Yepisika Ade Ebumaino, on Competibiaka say, Yampini?
The central bank had options. Your ability to enforce that reasonably matters most for your professional judgment. If you fail to do that, there are several reasons why one may fail or the other. We can look at those reasons. The anti-Americans and says, by so doing, they compromise their operational independence. And the result of that is what we are seeing. You know, we said this long ago. You see, in as much as, sometimes there's a saying, I don't know whether it's appropriate, that whilst we advise the cat, we must also advise the sinking fish.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You know, in all of these things, you can't take the government out of it. The government is the big elephant in the room. Okay? This is what they have done to the central bank. Okay? And we said it long ago that a time will come when we will say how the central bank, together with the government, messed up our financial system. This is the result. Master, what we are seeing on the books of the central bank is a true reflection of what this economy has gone through. It's a true reflection of what households have gone through. The impact you see on the balance sheet of the central bank is a reflection of the impact on the balance sheet of households, private sector. Now, you see the losses on the books of Bank of Ghana that huge because of its exposure to the central bank. Okay, so
now,
we can look at that from several angles.
I see.
You will see that certainly it's not something, I'm not sure the governor of Bank of Ghana is happy having this on his CV. I'm very sure.
Now, in your agreement with the minority that the Bank of Ghana's governor and his two deputies should resign, would you say that picketing is the way out? Is that the only way? Is that they say 21 days ultimatum. If you don't resign, we'll picket.
My position
would occupy Bank of Ghana. What do you make of it?
Yeah, my position is different from the minority. I'm not doing this in support of their position.
Well, but it's just that it aligns. You both think that they should go.
I have made this point long ago. Okay, from professional point of view.
Sure.
Okay, and the rest of them. But I think what this will lead us to, given that between the two main political parties, there's not one, it should lead us to a national conversation that helps us to insulate and preserve certain national institutions. Is very important from political capture, because they can put you there the next time, but it could happen to you. If you don't want it to happen to you, you will resign and say that, you know what, I care about my professional competence. This is not how things are done. I am leaving. In fact, that will send a strong signal, because all of us, we failed to make the right call on the government to cut expenditure. Master, this whole thing could have been, we could have minimized it. It was very clear to us that government needed to cut key expenditure, cut that wasteful expenditure, preserve fiscal space. You would have protected the balance sheet of the central bank, because it got to a point the central bank had to make a difficult decision, and I sympathize with them. What was that decision? They either allowed the regime to collapse and the economy developing into a full-blown crisis, or they will compromise their integrity, operational independence to sustain the government on its balance sheet. The result of that is the losses we are counting right now. Now, let me say this quickly. You know, the debt restructuring was a prior action. This is what happened. Because the government, again, didn't do consultation to build consensus around this. So there were serious pushbacks. So the first round of the domestic debt restructuring that government did, government claimed victory, but it was not victory because the eligible bonds was around $137 billion. At the end of the day, we had made exemptions and all of that, so we only restructured just 85% of 98 billion. Essentially, out of the universe of eligible bonds, of 137, we had only restructured around 83 billion cedis. So we knew that government wasn't done. There was a Kokrokoo bill, 8.1 billion at the end of 2022. I'm using 2022 end date figures. Then there was also the local component of the dollar-denominated bonds, around $800 million. There was the pension. Okay, you see that they are inviting the pensions to participate.
Exactly.
That is around 29.2 billion cedis. Then there was Bank of Ghana's exposure. You look at the composition. The central bank's exposure at the end of 2022 was 77.6 billion cedis. This is the level of exposure.
I see.
This is too much. Okay? One can sympathize with the central bank that, look, they have to bend back and all of that, but there should be consequences. Okay? And then look at it this way. Because the government didn't make significant progress with the debt restructuring, the domestic, and if you look at the outlook from the external debt restructuring, both external bilateral, external commercial, there is a limit to how far you can impose haircuts on the creditors. So at the end of the day, this was what happened.
Prof, let me ask.
Using the central bank to balance it as a balancing item. So the differences, more or less, they loaded it on the central bank.
From the way you're going, it looks as if it is the government that has brought the central bank to this unfortunate place.
Yes.
Now, I'll ask again, what is the solution? Is the solution the resignation of the governor and his two deputies? How do we turn this around? You've talked about us not politicizing it, but there's no way we can say we won't politicize it, especially when the minority in parliament have said emphatically that after 21 days they'll pick it. So what is the solution from a professional point of view?
We need to take another look at our democracy. Democracy is not one size fits all. We need to look at how we are operationalizing our democracy so that we can make our democracy work for Ghanaians. Okay? There are serious concerns about whether whether the democratic dividend is actually trickling down to the ordinary Ghanaian. Now, how do we solve that? If you look at, we have the governance cost. The governance cost keeps rising every year, disproportionately. So which means that the democracy only benefits the privileged few. Let me put it that way. And we have to seriously look at that. We need this. I'm not a lawyer, but I can conceptualize that the Constitution itself requires another look. I'm not sure we can deliver something in excess of what the Constitution envisages.
Okay.
And all of that. So we need to look at it broadly. And I would say that this will help us to save Ghana's democracy from itself. Now, since 1992, effectively 1993, if you look at governance costs,
yes,
you can see that rising across the two main political parties who have had the opportunity to govern this country. You will see it. And that is why this today is better for you to join politics and break even within the shortest possible time and have a lifestyle that it will take you years to have if you were in the private sector or you were in pure public service. That inequality is not helpful. And at the end of the day, we see that once we win, we have everything. We do everything the way we want to do it. And this is not helpful. This is what has brought us here. You will see, if you look at the team assembled at Bank of Ghana.
Yes.
Come on. I mean, look, it's not everything we want to say. The second deputy governor of Bank of Ghana at the IMF was advising advanced countries on how they should do things better. Talk about the first deputy governor of Bank of Ghana at the IMF. We know their track record.
So we have the brains.
We have that.
So how come we're here?
There's a difference here a bit. I'm looking at Paul Akwe's time
Okay.
As governor of Bank of Ghana under President Kufuor, there's a difference. Leadership matters. Okay, there's a difference. So if you see the degree of respect between the executive and the central bank under Polakwa, it's not the same. I'm not comparing. I'm not doing politics. Okay, but you see, we need to talk about these things in a certain way that allows us to do better. The only way out is to do better.
The only way out is to do better. But the governor and his two deputies must go to ensure that confidence is brought back into the central bank. That is your contention, right?
I had heard a similar view. As I said earlier, we can look at it, but it should lead us to they merely resigning may not solve the problem. Okay, that is what I'm saying, that we have to look at it within a certain national context, national conversation. Look at it objectively. And let's see what kind of revisions, amendments, reforms. Look, Ghana's problem is not economic. It's not finance.
What is
Ghana's
it?
problem is largely governance. It is governance failures manifesting explicitly in economic mismanagement and corruption and financial improprieties. It's governance failures.
That has brought us here.
Yes.
Let me take a break. Thank you for your time this morning, sir.
God bless you.
I need you back sometime soon.
God bless you.
Bless you back. Professor Godfred Alufa Gbokpeng, economist and professor of finance, University of Ghana, Legon. A minute past 8. Dumura, 3 minutes past 8. Good morning, Colonel Richard Mensah.